I would say actually there have been three changes. The first is what I call the 60 Minutes change. When I first started doing this stuff, there was 60 Minutes and there was essentially nothing else. And so if you had a client on 60, if you got the phone call from 60 Minutes, hello, we're interested in your company, they're doing interesting things, you would freak out because back then 60 Minutes was amazingly powerful. If they had a story on Sunday, most of America was having water cooler discussions about it on Monday. But what happened is the proliferation of competition for investigative magazine type shows on TV, 2020, those things like that, began to diminish the effect and the power of 60 Minutes. And as they began to become scattered, the staying power of stories, negative stories about your client, began to have less and less sticking effect. The second thing would be the proliferation of 24/7 news. The more cable news that came online, and then actually the more social media that came online, the less impact these stories had on the public. And it was like, well, what's next? What's on to the next thing? Especially with social media. As you know, everyone now has the attention span of a flea, and so something breaks on social media, and then what's next? And it's almost that way with cable news and that 24/7 news cycle. They just keep needing new stories to feed that machine, and your story is old news very quickly, much more quickly than it ever used to be. Lastly, the diminishing resources of the news media in general. It's a huge sea change in crisis communications. I mean, 30 years ago, newspapers around the country could devote a whole I-team for weeks and weeks and would end up running 4 days worth of stories. And they just don't have those resources. You don't see those stories anymore. All of this has been, especially interesting for people who do crisis public relations.